Hola, Mexico
Hola,
week 4. Hola,
¿cómo
Carol.
está?
It's good to see you as we
Yeah.
look at the skills and techniques of whatever came up in the episode of the Great British Sewing
Mhm.
Bee Series 12. We are companion show all gathered up, and as always, we have Carol there, Master Tailor Couturier, to guide us through. And we had many a skill and technique that came up this week, but before we go there, Carol, let's have a quick look at some of the comments that came up on last
Yes, please.
week's show, which was week 3, and it
Mhm.
was all about the the knickers came up quite a quite a lot,
Knickergate. Yeah.
which was reduce, reuse, recycle. Alexis says, thanks again for great content, Stuart and Carol. I'm very much looking forward to Monday's masterclass. I'm interested to know more about placing elastic in knickers. So it went down well. She says, I keep
Yeah.
wanting to make some myself and then get put off as I don't know how to deal with elastic
Yeah.
or what I should be looking for when buying it. I never had even thought about having areas of more or less stretch.
Yeah.
I hope you'll be able to explain this in the masterclass, which you did, that idea
Yes.
that some
Yeah.
elastics have better recovery than others.
That's right. And we talked about how to distribute it. And there was another lovely comment about somebody who used to make skaters' clothes,
That's it.
skaters'
Yeah.
garments and costumes. And she said, I used to treat this area differently than another area and add more stretch and that. And I thought that was really helpful as
It
well.
was. I've got it
Mm.
there. Sue says, I sewed figure skating dresses for years. I always made the elastic tighter under the butt cheeks to help
Hmm.
keep the pants in place. I often made the pants an
So
inch longer in that area too. I got lots of girls complimenting me on the fit of the dresses. How cool is that?
that is very cool. And I think the reason people want to make their own, undergarments, underpants, slips, and things like that is because they generally don't fit. You get small, medium, large, don't you?
Yeah.
Extra large. And we're all different and it, everybody's different in their front to back distribution. I find it with swimsuits. I'm thinking, why is it a bit mean here? Why isn't
Yeah.
there more? So I think people are going to want to make their own underwear and possibly swimwear. And why not?
Absolutely. If you want to check out that masterclass, then you can sign up. All the information is in the description below. And it was all about ratios and distribution. And you can watch that as part of signing up. So even though you have only just signed up now to get the later ones of week 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then maybe an Ask Carol. I think you're planning that at the end as well, aren't you?
We'd love to. Yeah, we'd
Oh,
love to do that
brilliant.
at the end. Yeah.
But if they sign up, they get to go back to watch weeks 1, 2, and 3. So if you want to know more about elastic, ratio, and distribution, then you can do it. But this week, week 4, Mexico week, you texted me straight away and says, yep, we are going to be talking about building volume with pleats and
Mhm.
tucks. I
Mhm.
cannot wait to get into it. What was it about the episode that you just knew I want to talk about that?
Well, I think it was the word sculpture. And I think, and I wrote the brief down because this week's was, I was inspired by the transformation challenge. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's normally the pattern challenge that I really think, okay, here's the technique we're going to focus on. But in this week, this is what they said: use structure to create sculpture. You could have fasteners, but no other trimming. So, in other words, you just had the fabric. That was it. You had to make a sculpture out of that. And I think that is the challenge. And, um, I sent you a picture of something that I made. I'm a tailor and I'm a couturier. There's a lot more sculpture that you build into tailored garments because there are more layers involved. So I was exploring this for a long time in my career here in London. it's going on to 40 years now.
Wow.
And at 38 years, I've been working for some of the top houses in London. And I tried to figure out what is it that I was actually doing. And I thought, we're sculptors, you know? We're building clothes for people.
Absolutely.
And that person walks into your studio and they are a piece of sculpture in themselves. And then our job is to put something sculptural over that. So I love that word. I love that it's what I think I really do. And I made this, I built a loom with a centimeter grid. And then I took some telephone wire of all different colors and
Wow.
I cut a pattern. I mean, you could probably wear this, Stuart, because it's like a 42 long suit and
Wow.
button three, single-breasted suit. And then everything that you couldn't see when you look at a suit, I made yellow. So the pockets you can see peeking out there, they're yellow. The
Oh, I
fly is
see.
yellow. Yeah, the hems are yellow. The shoulder pads are yellow. That's all the internal structure
Oh,
that your it's hidden, but it's very much, part of the making process. And so I thought, yes, and we're all sculptors, really, in the end of it. And so I loved this challenge. And I think to be given one piece of fabric and say, you've got
yeah.
to make something with volume, something that stands up on its own, something that's really interesting in a silhouette. So that really lit me up, in a word.
Oh, wonderful. I love it. And that's where I love the sewing bee. It does inspire in so many different
Yeah.
ways, and it brings you. Oh, I want to look at that, or let's talk about that. So I love how that just started this week's topic. So well,
Mm.
let's go for it then. Where should we start? Your idea with this circle that you showed me.
Yeah, we could start with the transformation challenge,
All
couldn't we?
right.
And then we could go
Let
back to the pattern challenge if
All
you
right,
want.
let's go
Um,
with it. So
so
let's see after you just explained that brief. That should we look at them? There they are.
yeah, yeah, and it was they're given a square tablecloth. I'm assuming they were all rectangular. I didn't see too many circles, but I thought, then what do you do? You've got this one, two-dimensional thing, and you've got to make a three-dimensional project. And look at it. I mean, there's like explosions, aren't they?
Yeah.
And you've got everything from a fan to a gathered piece. I think minis on the end there. That was an off the shoulder,
It was
a one
fab, wasn't
shoulder
it?
dress with this fantastic ruffle. And then the hemline looks like it went the other way. It was then
Yeah.
going the opposite direction to the ruffle, went from the neck point to the underarm. That was lovely. And then you've got all these fans. And I think it was very funny when I think it was Tim said the fanage is good.
That's it. He
It's
did.
hilarious. Yeah, yeah. And then you see a third one from the left, the peach one, where it looked like the dress that was made from the Bag for Life. It had that same kind of lantern
Yeah.
shape. Yeah. And I also thought the second one that had a sleeve and a hood, which was a box, was really clever. The light green one that was second in from the left. And
Yeah,
I
that was
forget the name.
Heather. It was
Okay.
almost like a cartoon character. Hello, like
Yeah.
this sort of thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. But to take it opposite. So in other words, to put no tuck, no pleat, no fold in
Yeah.
it, to have it all flat, and then to make a box for a sleeve and a hood. I thought that was really clever. But of course, the one that took the prize was Rebecca's, where
Yeah.
she had a sunrise pleat, a sun ray pleat. Yes. Now that
It's
is symmetry from the center front out. Yeah, beautifully done.
yeah.
Really like that. I mean, that was deserved, wasn't it?
It was because I like you've got these sort of what the pleats or the gathers in at the waist
Yeah.
there, so it goes
Yes.
small and then with lots of detail, and then you've got
Hmm.
that big sort of bottom where you've got a lot more breathing, more
Yes.
larger space. it
Yeah.
actually works really well with that top focal point and then the bottom open up. It just works. It's beautifully balanced, isn't it?
Oh, no, I completely agree. And she's taken that sunray pleat, which is the bodice, and she set it into a tight waist. So now you're looking at something which has got great flare on the top and on the bottom. But in the
Yeah,
middle, you've got this fixed waist, which
yeah,
sets up that sculpture pattern, doesn't it? Beautiful, and
absolutely.
lovely balance. There's a lot of work in that. I mean, and I like the kind of the outside peplum effect on either side of the hip.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of fun. Yeah, there we are.
And this, remember, Carol, this is all done in 90 minutes.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. So you've got to, I think you're standing there listening to a brief, and maybe you get 45 seconds to a minute, and you must be thinking,
Yeah,
thinking, thinking. What am I going to do? What does this mean? What are the key words? You know, you have to make sculpture. You have to use structure to create sculpture. This is what you're allowed, this is what you're not allowed. So I think the mind has to go very fast. And that's where the contestants that are engineers inside and have built things can really then make those decisions really fast.
yeah. It's got to
Yeah.
be an advantage, hasn't it? From that point of view, the way the brain visualize things and maybe to do with what you do work wise, because I don't know how I don't know how I would do in this type of round. It's almost
Mm.
too wide, so I don't know whether my brain could focus enough. Whereas the pattern challenge, you are following a pattern, so
Yeah.
at least you know what you've got to do, and then your skills are tested. So your creativity is about the skill, really, isn't it? More than
Mm.
the making
Yeah.
something. Whereas this, I don't know whether I just end up being engulfed with so many ideas and then not coming up with anything. Because I don't know whether Lewis is in that box there, because it did
Yeah.
seem he struggled, and he may not be that type of visual creator. He might just be that sewer that loves to follow a pattern and make a pattern and then be chuffed with
Yes.
what you made, because I suppose structurally he's got a coat, so a
Yeah.
coat has certain structures about it, doesn't it? But compared to
Yeah.
everything else, it was quite different.
Yeah, and it was tame, but he took a practical approach to it. He thought, well, this is waterproof fabric. I know I'll make something that's waterproof.
Yeah,
And he probably thought, this is a transformation, but maybe I want to make something that's valuable. I want to
yeah,
make something that I'm going to use and wear, and not, discard because it's just a frolic. It's a 90-minute, oh, let's just have a go. So he's done something which has a practical element to it.
good point.
And I don't know, I thought the hood was, I didn't think it was that much out of scale, because there's no head on that mannequin, so there's no way to test it, was there?
No, it's right.
So
No, it's
I,
right.
I thought, oh, that's a shame. But well, that's not the word I wanted to use. Not my favorite word. But what it's overused. But I thought for him, that was a bit of, not maybe a raw deal because
Yeah,
there was no way to test it,
but
how out
you're
of scale
right.
the hood was.
When you're looking at the brief, which was we want you to use the structure to create a sculptural garment, I suppose that's
Yeah.
the clue with what they are looking for. You've got to do something to create and sculpt. So perhaps not to be something that we all expect clothing wise, something
Mhm.
different.
Yeah. And if you've ever been to a sculpture park, if you've ever been to a sculpture exhibition, these are large scale things, that they don't move much, they don't sway much. They're solid things and they're big. And so that
Yeah.
was the part of the brief that was rather obvious, and that's what needed to be explored.
Well, let's go into those pleats and tucks, because this is what you'll be doing next Monday, then, I presume, for your next masterclass. This idea of building volume
Yeah.
with pleats and tucks.
That's right. And I was hoping that we could draw some inspiration from the outfit that you're making. So we would talk about those lovely D&G, sort of like pajama trousers, which are
Yeah.
nice and flowy, and they have a couple of reverse pleats in them, you know. So
Let's have a
you're
look.
quite tall. If I, as I was treating you like a piece of sculpture, and I would say, well, let's build some volume into the trouser because you're going to have a close fitted top, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which has got lovely graphic detail in the neckline, which is different. It's striking because it's not your normal scoop neck. And then let's use the trouser as a contrast and let's make it generous with some, it's got like some drop down welt pockets, doesn't it? They're lower to the waistband.
Yeah.
So this is kind of off the chart of a tailored trouser. And then look at the volume in the leg. You know, it's generous. They're going to move, and it's going
There.
to be a good counterpart for that close fitting top. So I wanted to take this outfit, and I'm glad you got the picture so quickly because you know, this is where you can use um, pleats and tucks to build volume and to put sculpture in. You know, it's outside the body. I know you're tall and lean, so let's
Yeah.
use that. Okay? Are you up for
Brilliant.
that, Stuart?
Oh,
Okay.
excited. And then with my, where is it? Let's go back to this one. So
Yeah,
I've started cutting it out.
very good. Yeah.
And
This is
yes, and
practice.
obviously in our last masterclass we were looking at elastic, so we've looked at
Yeah.
ribbing
Yeah.
and we've done
Yeah.
the whole sewing on. So now I've just got
Yeah.
to fold over so the
Yes.
two raw edges meet
Edges meet. So you
like
lift
that,
up the seam
and
allowance,
then
lift the seam allowance up, and then, yep.
fold over again.
And there you are. Yeah. And we're matching the grain lines in the center side. And
Yeah.
then it turns out where it's actually, the grain line is perpendicular at the shoulder seam. So
Oh, well, that's the
that's going to be
back.
lovely.
Where's the
And
front?
this is your practice. So
Yes.
you'll finish that up. You'll put it on and you'll say, do I like this? Do I like this graphic across the chest? Or do I need to change ladies and gentlemen,
Well, it's, as I say,
here's
it's
our
not.
fitting, our
I've,
first fitting. And then bring your shoulder seams a little bit back. That's it. Okay. And then let's see if that's the
oh, that's
graphic
not
that you want.
bad, is it?
Hmm. Not bad at all. Nice job. Look at that. Well, you see, you're well on your way, but it's good that you did a practice, isn't it?
And look, everybody, I didn't need a side seam because I brought a tube,
Oh, mhm, got a
and
tube.
that's not
Yeah.
too bad. That's not too low. It looks neater. I obviously
Yeah.
it's a bit plunging here, but it's not too
Yeah.
indecent, is it?
Well, no, that's what you want, you
Yeah.
know, because the top you're wearing underneath is quite tame up there.
Yes.
You know, you want this to make a statement,
Yeah, I
and
want
we want
that.
the contrast. Yeah, that's what you want. Yeah. And then if you wore a pendant or something, then the pendant will show. There you go. And you can make a little cropped one out of that one if you wanted to. Why not?
Brilliant. Right. So that's
Okay,
great.
so
So yeah, I'm going to
pardon while he changes. Yeah.
look forward to Monday then. Now I've got some
Yeah.
pictures here you've sent me too. Talk us
Well,
through this then.
okay, so when I saw that tablecloth, I thought, what would I do? And this is the first thing that came to mind. So I would take the whole of the tablecloth.
Okay.
This is one garment, and I would just cut a perfect circle, and then I would cut a circle in the middle for my waistline, and then make a cut just down from the small waist circle, just down, if you can show us that. That's where the zip
Oh,
would go in or
yeah.
not. And then I set up a couple of ties. So, you know, I might just tie it shut, tie it in a bow. And then I divided the circle into 8 parts. And then I made, out of that little pink square, I made a little 90-degree angle. And then I thought, well, out of each of those 8 divisions, I'll just miter a corner. You know, I'll just Okay, like we were doing,
Yeah.
and see what happens. So I know I've got my waistline. I've got a very generous hem, but I'm going to bring the hem back in. And then I'm going to jump into it when all these tucks are made. I'm going to jump into this garment, tie it around my waist, and see what it looks like. So, picture number 2
Okay.
and 3, there they are. So, you see, it's, and I thought if I had the tucks on the outside, then where you see my pins,
Yeah.
that's where I could have put a decoration. Like maybe if there was a, that's perfect. If there was a motif on the tablecloth, like
Yeah.
a flower or something, then I would just pin it on there or add a little tassel or some fringe that I cut from the fabric. So it's not needing any haberdashery, no trimmings.
Yeah.
And I didn't even need a fastener because out of the same fabric, I cut a tie. So
Oh.
now I can waltz around in this, what's effect a bubble skirt,
Yeah.
um, but with the pleats on the outside. Now I wonder, I've got it here, what it would look like if I turned it inside out, because I've got it here.
Oh, have you?
I thought it was quite cute.
I think it's
Um,
great. Oh,
yeah,
see,
so
look at
this
the
is what I would,
structure there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now there, you see.
Yes.
So that's interesting. And if you wanted the pleats not to be so high, you could make your 90-degree angles shorter. But that I thought that could be a quite interesting beret as well. Because
Absolutely. Or
try it and put
yeah, a
it. And
trendy hat from whatever,
yeah,
the olden days.
that's right, the olden days.
Yeah.
And I could put a grosgrain ribbon on the
Yeah.
inside. But you have it. Yeah, I thought I would just, maybe I'd try to have these things feature on the outside. But anyway, that's what came to mind when I saw that,
Oh,
because this is done so quickly,
yeah.
and there's your garment, and there's none of that
Yeah.
hassle or
No.
pressure in 90 minutes to make how many fans that showed up on these garments, and then
Yes.
how do you stitch those on? Um, anyway, there's a million things you could do to create sculpture with that kind of fabric, which is
Yes.
really
I can
structural.
I can see your brain in a way, creativity wise and engineering wise, is very similar to Beth's then, isn't it? Let's get Beth's up there with
Yeah.
that sort of concertina effect of the way you've cut the fabric.
Yeah. Yeah, and that lantern, that lantern structure,
Yeah.
which then I think then distorted the motifs. So the motifs kind of they just had to appear where they appeared. It wasn't using the motifs
No.
for. But I thought the engineering around that. Now I forget. Do forgive me, but is she the contestant that made the bag for life?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so then that makes sense. She likes that motive. She
Yeah.
understands how to engineer that. Okay, so that makes sense.
Oh,
I wonder. Yeah.
fabulous.
Okay.
And then I just loved the round. I thought it was incredibly creative. And when you
Mm,
look at those garments there and you can see the way the fabric is folded and used, as I say, it's just these sewers, I feel they're all exceptional sewers and of a kind of level playing field. So any
mm.
one of these, when you look at these, could have been chosen to win, I think, or could
Yeah. Yeah.
be
No, I
in the
agree. I
last
agree.
final. There's not like two really great ones and then at the other end not so great, and their skills are far
Mhm.
apart. They're all
Yeah.
very, very good sewers, aren't they?
Oh, yes. Yeah. And I suppose if you want to say, well, who's uh, unique in their approach to this, you might say Beth's with her
Yeah.
lantern approach. You might say Minnie with her command of the asymmetry.
Yeah, let's have a look at
Um,
Minnie's. That one.
yeah, I mean that works so, and look at the motif, how that the fabric itself is used so well
Yeah.
because there's big flowers there, so that really sings, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And the
It's good
flower, the
placement.
ruffles just taken over. It's
Yeah.
just ruling this. Um, and I think it sits really well on the mannequin.
Yeah.
And
You've got,
I see that's very wearable. But then if you go then to Rebecca,
yeah,
then she's actually made a full length gown.
yeah, yeah,
So she's got a bodice, she's got a waist, she's got some peplum action, and then she's also got a full length skirt. So I
yeah,
think the judging on this one
yeah.
was, it was in line, I think.
It was definitely a fun round from that point of view. Let's finish off with the group pictures there. And we
Nice.
all know what oilcloth's like. It must be fun to work with and bend and twist. And once you get into it, I can imagine it was quite creative, especially with those fans. When you look at
Yeah.
the two fans there, was it Tim's? I think the red one.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
all
I
those
loved it.
fans there. Interesting point about, I haven't got the side on shot, but they said maybe it would have been even better if we'd had a fan on the back side, one big fan. How did you
Hmm.
feel about that feedback?
Well, that's not very practical if you're sitting and, sitting in a chair and you want your back against a chair, I think. And it's sometimes you do get all the embellishment on the
Yeah,
front and you don't get anything of it. There's plenty of sculpture in it. He followed the brief. Um, but I didn't mind that
yeah,
it wasn't, front to back similar. But what I do like about this challenge is that the natural iridescence of the cloth. It's
yeah,
shiny.
yeah.
So you get
It's
more action, don't you?
Yeah, it just makes you feel good as well, doesn't it? Now,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
said earlier about the mitered corner. That was on here, wasn't it? As you were talking through this, wasn't
Yes,
it?
yes, yeah.
Let's talk about the mitered corner because it came up in the pattern challenge. Where they had to make the Mexican folkloric top. So let's just quickly go to that. There it is
Hmm.
there. There's a lot of mitered corners there. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I like this challenge a lot. And I think you certainly wouldn't make it this way. You would cut the garment, you'd make sure it was square, and then you would cut your facing and you would put your facing in first because that neckline then would govern everything from then, and you'd have something to measure. And you could use the flat construction method then. The whole top would be laid out. You could check and balance everything. But by throwing that in to complicate things, I suppose made it a more interesting
I
challenge. But
see.
I would never suggest making it like that. I mean, why give yourself that headache? So I thought what you needed to do is run to that table and get a very thick trim because it was the thick trims that really set it off for
Yes.
me.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's what you would
So,
have. You would have got the thick trim and then chosen
yeah,
three random others.
that's right.
It's
Something,
all almost like
yeah.
countdown. You know when they go, I'll take one from the top, Carol, and three from anywhere else. You'll go, I'll take one big trim and then boom, 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 boom. Doesn't matter about the others. I agree. I think
Love it. Love it.
that's a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, it is a lovely challenge. And then, of course, the instructions for mitering was to take your stitch line down to the corner and then tuck your fabric and find that 45-degree angle and then keep stitching. So they did this all in one. They didn't miter, the corner first, press everything flat, lay it out, and then stitch. They were mitering as they went along.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's like, yeah, I suppose because it's time,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
What I liked about this challenge was almost that pinpointed criteria. They are almost just being assessed on mitered corners and their parallel sewing. So I felt it made them all very equal, and that for we as home can go, I can definitely see that's better mitered than that. It just meant we could perhaps judge more and assess more.
Mhm. You're right. Yeah, absolutely. And then there was that final criteria where the trim closest to the neckline had to be 5 mil
Yeah,
away from the seam line. So
yeah,
that meant And if you picked a very wide trim, you had to be careful where you put that because you needed the space to
Yeah.
put the narrow trim around the neck. Um, so there's loads of combinations that could have come out of this. They could have chosen the wide trim for close to the neck and then put smaller trims around it. But it certainly made it more difficult waiting to the end to do the
Yeah.
facing. That
Well,
really threw a ringer in.
and clearly some made a mistake with that. So Tim was one and Minnie was one. And I'm thinking they only made a mistake because it was on this particular pattern. The engineer in them obviously felt, well, of course you would do the neck earlier to
Yeah, yeah.
so now you've explained that, I understand why they did that. It wasn't necessarily yes, I know they didn't read the pattern, but to them it meant if they probably felt logical to do it earlier.
Absolutely. And then, of course, this was a woven fabric. You probably didn't need to interface it, but that caused a problem as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, okay, so here's Minnie's. And yeah, so she chose all narrow lace on trim,
yeah.
which didn't really shout out at you.
No,
And
no.
this whole event yesterday for Mexico Week, this whole event was about color and not being afraid to mix color and texture and different prints and different this and
Yeah.
that and just a splash of texture and loud color. So, this one was neat and lovely, but maybe could have been a bit more adventurous, perhaps.
Yes, I think the ones, so Minnie was eighth and Tim was ninth because
Mm,
of the neck doing that in the
yeah,
wrong place. So
yeah,
the measurements were wrong. And Minnie, with regard to choosing smaller trim and not enough variation. At the other end, Beth was top. Let's have a look at Beth's and see if there is a,
mm,
yeah. So Beth has gone for a wider one and then has the thin one and the thinner one. So it kind of steps down, doesn't it?
that's right. And it gives it a great frame. I mean, you put
Does.
this on and you look like an art piece
Yeah.
in a frame yourself. And I think Beth, is she the one that
That's
realized that she needed a very small, she didn't have enough space
that's it.
to leave 5 mil. So she had to, I think, slice that green
She
trim
did exactly
down.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Clever, isn't
But
it?
that was a good recovery,
Yeah.
wasn't it? And that,
And then
yeah.
second was Anna. I think it was a close one, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So she chose a very neutral fabric and then more striking trims.
Yes, so the
Mm,
trim just pops, doesn't
yes.
it?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
And I think Heather's one was the one that perhaps the judge, because we had a nice guest judge, which always livens things up, was like, oh
Yes.
yes, this is kind of my colour palette. That large trim is
Yeah.
beautiful, isn't it?
Oh, it's stunning. And there's a blue in that trim. The blue that just sets off
Yeah,
that orangey color in the
yeah.
pink and then just marries up beautifully with the blue in her main cloth.
But look
That's the
at that.
that's the trim to run and grab. That's the one.
And that's a mitered
Yeah.
corner, Carol. Look at that.
Look at that. That's beautiful. Yeah. Look
You,
at that bottom scallop, you
I,
see? Oh, I
it
admire
is,
that.
it is perfect.
That is perfect.
It,
Yep.
you wouldn't know that that was mitered. You would think that was bought with that right angle in it,
Easy enough to, yep, I agree.
don't you think?
Yeah. Lovely job there. Yeah. And it's in
Um,
the right place at the top too. Yeah.
and now, if you want to know more about the mitered corner, Carol and I talked about the mitered corner. Would you believe back in series 8, Carol? We're now on series 12.
Really?
How
Oh,
many years? Series 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is fifth year of doing it. And I think they were doing something with sailors. I think they had to do with sailors. So we were looking at the classic mitered corner that comes down
yes.
and across. Well, viewers, you're in for a treat because I dug it out
Oh,
and we can
Stuart.
watch one of the first tutorials that Carol did for us on An All Gathered Up on the
Oh,
mitered corner. So we've got two to show you. We'll show you the first one, which
lovely.
demystifies the mitered corner with a wonderful yellow post-it note that will help no end. And then we'll watch Carol do it again with ribbon. But here's the first one. Take a look at this, everyone.
With our lace, I want to show you a quick trick that will help you miter a piece of lace that may come in handy for one of your applique projects. So I have a piece of lace here that I've measured. It's 3/4 of an inch wide, and I've set up a simple template here marking 3/4 of an inch on either side of this right angle corner. And a very simple way to set up a miter is to lay this lace, same width as your template, along and then turn it back at the edge where you have this square, and then turn it back again along the corner so that it then follows along. So this is the basis of your miter, and it just helps to visualize this. That's what you're doing. You're just using the square at the point you want to miter. Now let's give that a little press. This is such a handy trick to use, and if you have the time, obviously some of our sewers didn't have that kind of time to set this all up, but if you practice with this method, then when it comes to something like a competition or somewhere where you're short of time, then you've got an advantage and you can see ahead what it is that you're doing. Now pretend that seam has been sewn, and I'm just going to press that open so that you don't have a seam showing one way or the other. It's split right down the middle, and then even though, darn, I've got a leak. And then even though it's not sewn, you can see how clean that miter is going to be. And obviously it's a bit fiddly with lace because sometimes it has a mind of its own, but you can soon coax it into position.
See, look at
Oh,
that. That
look
was
at that.
one tutorial on the
Oh,
mitered corner.
oh, and I had a weepy iron. I must not have had the steam setting on high enough.
But
Yeah, that's
that
lovely,
just
Gabby.
helped. And I think, that maybe Heather watched your tutorial because look at, I'm going to zoom in even more. Come on, let's big up Heather here.
Love this.
Look at
Love.
that.
That is so perfectly done, isn't it?
Isn't it? I Yes, and it's such a shame that Heather got her measurements out because obviously on the front it should have been a lot lower, and that's pressure,
Oh, yes.
that's cameras in your
Yes.
face. But even that smaller one there, it's just here. It
Oh,
is
yeah.
just
And
amazing.
I love her colors because she picked up on that orange and
Yeah,
the pink and the yellow, and she's put that in above that really vibrant wide lace. So she's letting the colors float up to the top.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Carol then also did the same demo with tiny ribbon, which actually some of those contestants were using in Series 12. So let's take a look at Carol doing it with ribbon for the sailor's outfit. Take a look.
So now we have our sailor collar, and we've marked our double layer of parallel trim. And we're going to use that same technique where you lay your trim along, set up one of your corners first, and make sure that you have enough trim to go all the way through the parallel edges of your collar. So you've laid the trim out, you turn it back where your corner meets here. You can set up a pin at a 45-degree angle just to stabilize your trim, and then you just simply turn it back at the 90-degree angle. So there you are, you're all set. You can do one of these corners, as I said, and get yourself through to half this project, and then come back and do that one. Or simply start and work your way from this corner to this corner. But I want to show you this way, because now we're going to sew it, and I'm going to just say one final thing about this. I'm going to start with a stitch at about 3 on my industrial here. And as I get near the corner, I'm going to shorten the stitch just a little bit, because we want the stitch to land absolutely on the corner. So I'm just going to dial a lower stitch now. And as I get to the corner, I've got a little bit more room to maneuver. And now I'm just going to walk the stitch right into the corner. Now I'm still on the small stitch. And I'm going to start sewing again. Just give myself a couple of stitches and then go back to the longer stitch, keeping this firmly on the guideline that I've set up, making sure it's parallel. Don't pull the trim, don't ease it in, just work flat. Okay, now there you can see we've got a nice corner, and I'm using a contrast thread. It's going to look a lot better if I match the thread tone on tone. And then simply do the same thing on this pass. Start with a slightly longer stitch. As you get closer to that corner, shorten your stitch slightly so you have a better chance of getting right in that corner. Proceed on with a few short stitches and then lengthen them a little bit. Not too much far apart, but just give yourself a smaller stitch so that you've got a better chance of meeting that corner.
That was amazing.
How about that?
That
How about
was.
that?
Let's just admire.
And there it is, your mitered. It's going to look a lot better if I...
Look at that, Carol. I just think that is incredible.
match the thread tone up.
Looking how
Liz,
close
you
to
there?
the edge you are there.
Yeah.
And whilst
Yeah.
Mike is putting a camera in you right close up.
Well, it's not the white knuckle ride that the contestants have to deal with, but it is. We don't do any retakes. We've got to get it in one because you know how it goes with filming. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's a good trick to remind myself of saying that, just shorten the stitch, because the closer your stitches are together at that corner, then the less likely they are to be split. Do you know what I mean? When you get a stitch that doesn't actually catch because there's too many layers, and then you have to go back. But it's nice to see that again, like in your button-up tennis shirt.
I know. That was the thumbnail from it. Which, viewers, I will put the link in the description below, because there was then a long discussion about Mitred Corners and what else ever came up in that episode. And as I say, we've actually got a big back catalogue now on all gathered ups from Series 8. And then they're copied over onto Carol's YouTube channel as well. I Never Learned to Sew. And then, of course, as the more masterclasses you do, it's probably going to end up there at some point. But I loved that mitered demo you just did, that first one, because I didn't realise, because we've got more time to do it. The technique comes up in the sewing bee, and we've got more time. I didn't realise about ironing it flat rather than having it to one side, opening it up and laying it flat. Of course, that makes complete sense.
Which is exactly what we did here. We opened it up. There, see that here? We opened it up and pressed it flat right here.
Yeah.
So that's that 90-degree angle. But we've pressed it back. And with lace, it looks so pretty because you don't have that triangle, all the whole of the seam going to one side.
Yeah.
It's a trick to do that. And then you might need to put a few hand stitches in to keep it in place. But it's very pretty if you're going to do a lace-edged handkerchief, which is, I know it's a very old-fashioned thing to do, but it's just lovely to have one, in your pocket, in your purse, have a handmade handkerchief.
Yeah.
luxury.
And we've said it right from the beginning. That's the whole point of All Gathered Up. It's to demystify some of those skills and techniques that come up in the sewing bee, where we think, well, how could they do it better? There's no time for the judges to say you could have done this better had you have done this, 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 and this. They tend to just say, oh, well, you could have done this better, and we don't know how. Well, that's why we're here to try and tell you how to do it better. But most of all, it probably means doing it slowly with a few more processes in between.
Yeah.
And
But
to
then you do
appreciate
that, you repeat it 2 or 3 times, and then you get faster,
Yeah.
don't you?
Brilliant. Let's finish off with a quick look at the transformation, not the transformation challenge, the made to measure, because they had a simple brief of making an outfit for a Mexican festival. And there are many Mexican festivals, but that's a wide brief. And I know one person you want to talk about was Tim, because he had to make a jacket, a suit jacket, and a pair of trousers and stuff to go with it. And you wanted to highlight the work that he put into his made to measure, didn't you?
I wanted to make a mention of this because I thought this really was so beautifully done. And I loved the theater element of this. I loved how he really went for as many textures and, different techniques of assembling. He
Yeah.
went so far above and beyond what anyone else did. I know it's a made to measure challenge, and this is what is always quite sad because you can have a real virtuoso piece, which is loaded with technique and imagination and effort, and then just one thing doesn't work
Yeah.
out. If no one would have lifted up that jacket to look at the back of the trouser, we wouldn't have known. Well, we would have seen some back drape, fair enough, but I thought this was so over and above what anyone had attempted that I had to forgive the back trouble of the trouser
Yes,
and
absolutely.
and then just give him first place, give
Yeah.
him garment of the week, give him everything, because I thought this was, and where he found that fabric, I'll never know. But look at how clean it is. The
Yeah.
sleeves that are set into the floral fabric. Look at how clean that is. And then he's taken some of the motif and made cuffs for the jacket,
It's beautiful.
and then added the feathers and matched the pattern along the center front.
Well, here's a
All the
close up of the
buttons
centre
lined up.
front. Look
Yeah,
at that. It
you
is.
know,
Let's blow it up even more. Come on. Let's, like we
let's
did
go for it
Heather, let's
because
go, 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 go.
this is
Look
this is the
at
winner.
that.
This is just
Where's my pen?
congratulations, Tim, because to have this in your to conceive this, to source all the cloths, to get the multi-textural effect here is
Yeah.
just so well done. Yeah, that's my vote
As
anyway.
well as then a
What is
pair of
yours?
trousers as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the pom-poms along the outside leg
Yeah.
seam. Wasn't that fun?
Oh, amazing. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it comes down, we've had this conversation before, haven't we? The ambition versus do you do something simple and execute it? And if they all did something simple and executed well, we wouldn't get amazing creative ideas like we do with this or others. And I know we sometimes argue with that, and me and Ting will discuss that. How do you then assess that? But there is something amazing about those big, ambitious ideas that
Yes.
can wow us. Well, they wow us anyway, don't they?
Yeah.
Even if not
And
fully
this,
nailed. But
yeah.
yes, this is one of
And
those.
you're right, to be ambitious and to execute it and have it work, beautifully. So yeah, I just didn't want to miss this in our discussions because it's worth just sitting back and admiring, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take just a quick scoot through a couple of others
Yeah, let's
on the
do it.
made to measure. Beth's, there was something I loved about Beth's. The simplicity of that bottom, the big, just all that red with
Yes.
the gathers, the frills at the bottom. I actually really liked the clean lines of this
Yes.
bow ribbon put on. I don't
Yes.
know whether it was running out of time. I can't remember if Beth said it was just put on, but Patrick felt, oh, did it let it down? I actually thought this worked, the clean, sharp line of the ribbon to finish it off. What did you think?
I agree. I agree completely. The only thing that went wrong, that was the perfect color, the perfect width. The
Yeah,
only problem with that was the bow wasn't tied. Now, it's difficult to tie a clean bow,
yeah,
and we should show how to do that. But there's nothing wrong with that. It really finished it off beautifully.
yeah.
Nothing wrong with
Great.
that bow at all. It's just the way it was tied. And it's tricky. At the very end, you're wrapping a present and it's not coming out right. You try it again and you get two knots in it, which
Yeah,
is what happened here. You can't take them out. You just got to go, oh, well, off you go. Prance away. But no, that was a really striking finish. And it brought out the color in the motifs on the shoulders. It brought
absolutely.
out that, it
Yes.
helped
Yeah,
that green. It
yeah,
pointed then to the darker colors in the lower ruffle.
yeah,
No, good choice.
yeah.
Well done. Let's
And
talk about how to tie a nice bow.
okay, put that on the list on the masterclass on Monday. That could be a little
Will do.
starter.
I do that. Yeah.
But
Okay.
let's look at that embroidery. I know
Yeah.
you've often talked about these sort of templates. You can get them from McCulloch and Wallace,
Yes.
can't you? And you've shown me
Yes, you
these.
can.
You buy
Yes, you
them
can.
in groups, do you? And then cut. How is this done?
Yeah,
Because
you
I can
buy.
see it joined here. Is that how you
Yes.
buy them?
Yes, you buy it all in one piece, and it's generally, I think you buy them in a pair, and they're generally married. They're reversed so that they meet. And she's decided to not have a symmetrical
I love
join in the
that.
center front, which is really cool.
It is, isn't it?
And then you can cut them apart. You quite rightly, you said where those little ladder stitches are, you can take that away and put smaller motifs. But I thought this was a charmer.
Yeah. And there was something about, because she could have done them equally, a blob there and a blob there, but because you brought that one down and pushed that one up, it felt like it had a dynamism to it, a swirl.
Yes,
And then that mirrored when the model, did the classic, it's just a wonderful dancing
yes,
costume as
the
well.
twirl.
Yeah.
Yes, good point.
But
Dynamism. Good
that,
point. And then she obviously wanted that pin on the
I love
center
that.
front.
Yeah.
She wanted that to be the center focus.
Yeah.
So
It's
then
beautiful.
off went the. And what is that motif? Do you know what that is?
What the
What is
flower
that? It's
is.
the jewelry
Oh, the
that
jewel. I
she
don't
got.
know. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
it's something that she had. I'll have to go back
Yeah.
and have another look. But look at that
Yeah.
neck as well. The fit, Beth,
Yeah. It's a
is.
beautiful color, really set in. And I first saw this garment,
Yeah,
I thought, oh, the gathers on the sleeves are perfectly
yeah,
symmetrical.
yeah.
She started her gathers at the same place and dispersed them evenly. The fit was gorgeous. Yeah, I just love that
Look.
she takes this dynamite red color
Yeah.
and then softens it with the pink and the light green and then ties it all together with a great emerald sash,
Oh,
which
love
was
it.
such a good choice.
Now we were messaging throughout, and you were talking about the use of ribbon, flat ribbon, to decorate. Let's look at. Was it Emma's that had a lot of that? Oh no, Emma
Yeah,
and no, it was Anna. Beg your pardon, Anna.
yeah. This was really super.
Powerful,
Really
isn't
loved
it?
it. Yeah, very powerful, and it's kind of set up a contrast with I am a set of striped ribbon,
Yeah,
very strong, and then the delicate little sleeves and the
yeah,
lace trim. But it had a lot of power in the placement, and of course whenever you put a V neck together, even this is an embellished V, it's like an arrow, the eyes just go to the center.
yes,
So
yeah,
I thought this created a really, necklines can vary, but they're kind of signposts to where the eyes go.
yeah.
And
Oh, that's
this
the
one
back.
went
Yeah,
right to the center of
yeah.
this piece.
Yeah.
Very
And
sturdy,
you just
very
then want to look down and admire the rest of how it then
yes,
develops.
yes.
What did you think of the critique about having it a bit longer? Let's show you the picture here. That it could have done with another section
Well,
to
I'm
make it
not so
even
sure
better.
about that. I'm not so sure about that because I think it would be really exciting dancing dress.
Yeah.
And it's just above the knee. It's at a nice level. It isn't mini. It
No.
isn't. But I maybe proportionally the top is taking over, and maybe the skirt could be a bit longer, or maybe another red ruffle. I don't know. But I didn't mind it, and I just liked the way the whole thing moved.
I'm just going to compare
So
it to Heather's, which
yeah,
they loved because it was longer.
yeah,
You're right. It would have been a very different outfit, wouldn't it? Just with the
yes,
extra tier. And then I'd be like, well, I didn't really want the extra tier because I've made my outfit for this type of festival
yeah.
where perhaps they are dancing in a bit more,
I
for
think the
a different
proportion of the
style.
outfit is it's really lovely. I just think that the stripe below the waist is a bit confusing. If she was lighter on the trim and just kept the neck and the trim on the hem of the skirt, maybe proportionally it
Yes.
would have worked out
So what?
better.
Remove the yellow, blue, and green trim on that
I think
midsection.
so. Yes. Yeah, take that
Yes.
away or lighten it.
Yes.
Or because then it's the skirt looks a bit short, the top
I
looks a
get
bit
you.
long. So yeah,
Yes.
but I thought it was really youthful and fun
Yeah.
and something you just want to twirl in.
And let's finish then with garment of the week, which is right there. Heather getting it. I agree because I think, well, for your mitres, Heather, I would have given you garment of the week. Um, it's yes. I can understand why they liked that, and listening to the
Mm.
judge too. And isn't it nice to see another sewer?
Yes, yeah. I think this one technically was not as ambitious as any of the other
No.
ones, and it has a very dark appearance. I it, it would have been interesting to see the waistband a lighter color, and then the under piece of the top a brighter color, perhaps.
Let's go
The
back to
whole thing for
the
me
main
was
picture.
quite,
Yeah.
yeah. I liked it. It's really successful, but it, yeah, it just looked lovely mix of fabrics, but the base of the fabrics is
It
black.
it's
And
heavy, isn't
so
it?
it's
Yes.
heavy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it kind of then took away from all the effort, all the embellishment, all the exact
Yeah.
technique that went into every other garment but this one. So yeah, impact is everything, I suppose.
Well,
Um,
it's one of Esme's favourite words, isn't it? Doesn't quite have the impact.
yeah,
This is good. It has impact. We often hear it, don't we?
yeah, yeah.
Well, there we are. That's week 4
There we
done.
are.
That's
Yeah.
what Mexico week. Next week, one of my favourites, Sports Week.
Okay.
Do you like
You
it?
like sports? Yeah. So what are we going to see? We're going to see some lycra, aren't we? And we're going to see some elastic and toggles and sweat tops and jackets with a million pockets in them. And yeah, oh, it'll be good. It'll be good
I
because I think sportswear is kind of taking over.
Yeah.
This is the new uniform, isn't it? Well,
Wow, I'm living
the
out of it all the
technical wear.
time. I am.
Yeah. Oh, well,
And
be interesting.
you can join if you want to find out more about the pleats and tucks to create sculpture. Join us on Monday, the 10th of August at 8 o'clock. You can ask questions. You can watch. It's in Zoom. You don't have to have your camera on. You just watch
Nope.
Carol do wonders. And then I turn up at the end and go through all the questions. I love it. You do all the
Well, you're a
work.
great help. You're such a great help. And I never realized, because some of the comments that I get privately say that.
Oh,
And
do
you
they?
highlighted. Right.
Oh,
Well, yeah, yeah. And they say, yes. And some people that, we've worked with, and they say, it's great. Uh, I like a safe space. And also they like, and I never realized how important that was.
yeah,
And also that they can look at something in real time, ask a question in real time, and get an answer in real time. So
absolutely.
I'm glad that folks like it. Thank you all, and thanks for your comments, because that means a lot. Means we're going in the right direction as we build this community of stitchers.
Absolutely. And if you sign up, remember it's your masterclass. Doesn't matter about your ability. Doesn't matter if you only started sewing 2 weeks ago or if you've been sewing for years and years and years. You've signed up, you ask the questions that you want to ask, and we'll answer them. So we'll see you next Monday for the masterclass. Otherwise, we'll see you Wednesday for week 5 Sports Week. Thanks, Carol. Cheers. See you next week.
Thanks, Stuart.
Cheers.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.